Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. As you could see by the thumbnail, I have shown one of my finished objects. I am so proud that I completed them. I have another finished object that I'll show, works in progress, is I'm still looking at the different mitten patterns that I have and deciding what my next pair of mittens will be. And there is like a random section where I'll show some of my work pens that I've collected because I got a pencil case for them, and I get to just consolidate them and be happy at the ones that I kept. I do love pens, all sorts of stationery. I feel like pens are ones that I look at a lot, and pencils too, because I'm a lefty, so I tend to see how they write and how I am with writing with them. I feel like over the years, when you write, you kind of course, you get the hang of it. Oh my God. But I don't smudge as much as, I don't try to smudge a lot when I write. So I'll show them when I get to that point of the video. But I'll show my mittens. So I finished the second mitten recently. I washed it. I feel like with the Jameson, this is the Jameson Shetland Spindrift. It's 100% pure Shetland wool and grown and spun on the Shetland Island. So in the colorways Shetland, I'm sorry, the colorways Royal and Cornfield. Sorry. So these are the mittens. I'm so happy with them. I love the pattern and the yarn that I used. I will use this yarn for other mittens because I love the way that they feel. They're cozy, but they are definitely warm but breathable. And I would say with this yarn, at least for this specific project, that I feel like 2 weeks is around a good time to determine how the yarn and the project will be, and um, and how the wool will really how it is in its fully developed stages, because the yarn is really binded together right now. Like, it's a sticky yarn and it almost looks felted in a way. You can see the image extremely well, and it's it almost is felted, but it's not felted. And it really tightened over the past couple of weeks. I did do a couple things differently for this pattern and made adjustments for the starting points of them. I'll talk about the pattern and what I did. But with this one was recently washed, so I feel like there's a slight dampness like in the inside of the yarn, the fiber. So I'll see over time how it'll be. For the backs of them, you see that there is the trident, and the thumb has love on this one. This one says not war and pray for Ukraine on both of them, but there is a chart that says knit for Ukraine. On the thumb, I love that. It kind of reminds me of like paw prints. So, so cute. I'll show the pattern. I might knit two more mittens. I say two more, not a pair, and I'll get to that when I talk about the pattern. So this is the pattern, and it's a free pattern, so I'll talk about it. So I didn't gauge swatch. I used a different yarn. I used different needles. I adjusted the count for it. So my results may definitely most likely vary if you knit this or if you want to knit them based off of what I did with that. You could do that too. So the recommended yarn or the yarn used is the Filcolana Alweta in the colorways numbers 265 and 200. And the needles that are recommended are 2 to 2.5, and that's millimeter depending on how hard you knit. So my needles that I used at first for the first mitten is my US 2, and that is slightly larger than the 2.5. So I was making sure because I have the Chagu interchangeable set and I use the size 2, and I knit up to the area where I first began knitting the hearts, and I didn't like the feeling of knitting it with those needles. It wasn't the needles, but I went up to the size recommended for this yarn, so they recommended the size 3. And again, I didn't gauge swatch. I already knew that we were gonna just go rogue with the pattern. So um, I really liked the way that it was knitting. I liked the feeling of the way that it was knitting. So I knit the rest of it with the US 3. I really love the way that it turned out for this one. So then you get into the second one. Again, the second one, I'm going to see how the yarn acts in the next couple of days or weeks. I'll see. But for this one, I started off with the size 3. So the glove sizes, they're not super far off, but there is a little bit of a difference, and I'll see how much it'll kind of like the motion that I just or like what I how I described it was this like shoot where it just kind of like sucks itself in and it's just one of those things about this yarn. So I'll see how it'll behave, but other than that, I am mega pleased with the way that it turned out. It is really such a fun pattern. I love the effect. I really love the charts. I'm using it for a tarot deck right now, but before I get into that, I I would say that it's like this much, but again, I'll see if it if that changes once it's completely dry. I feel like it'll be something that I wouldn't mind, and I just had to wait. But for this pattern, I you start off with less stitches for the ribbing, and then you increase. So the chart is for 80 stitches. I decreased, so I knit 72, and I don't know if you could see, but I marked where I wasn't going to knit the stitches. So in the areas that didn't have the details of the images. So I decreased earlier too, and I decreased a third round, but I decreased 3 rounds before the place where it says to decrease, and then I started doubling the decreases after all the charts were complete. So the trident has 1 round extra than the hearts here. So after the trident, that's when I started to double my decreases. So two skip knits, two knit two togethers, so you could get the decreases going, leaning in where you need them to be. And then I ended up with the 3 stitches on each needle, and then I did the Kitchener stitch for them. For this pattern, I put the thumb where the yellow is, because the thumb here is where the blue is. And then I, well, this is the Knit for Ukraine here, if you wanted to do that one. This is the chart for the thumb, one of them. So I did 28 stitches, and I decreased 3 rounds before, or doubled the decreases 3 rounds before, and then I decreased in the area where the chart says to decrease. I marked off where I was going to not knit the stitches, and 3 on each needle, and I Kitchener stitched them at the end, the thumb at the end. And then this is the other chart for the thumb. So the, depending on how the mittens are going to be, I feel like they'll be okay. I feel like maybe it's a sign because I was actually at the yarn store the other day because I started my Sea Spirit scarf on my loom, and I ran out of one of the yarns when I was warping the loom, and that is the mm, oh geez, it was in the colorway Fog, and I really loved the yarn because I wanted it to be one of the main colors in the project. And when I went to the yarn store, she had the brand, but she didn't have the colorway. So I got a different yarn. I got one that I've never used before, and it is an alpaca and cotton blend. And I really love the way that it's turning out. It makes it look even more ethereal. So I'm super happy about that one. And I picked up one of the Jameson's Shetland Spindrift in the colorway Royal. If I saw that there was any more of that one, I could have picked up to make another two mittens to do the exact same thing that I did for each mitten, but there was only one Royal left. Of course, you could ask and then she could order it for you and let you know, and she'll probably replenish at some point, but I don't go there super often, so I was like, okay, I'll just take one of the Royals because I was seeing I was seeing like if I would have enough because I did use this yarn while I was using it for another project too for the sweater using the yarn that you had in stash, and I had leftovers of other types of yarn. But after knitting the mittens, this is what I had left, and I also used this yarn for something else. So I did, I still had the yellow left, but now I have a full skein of the colorway Royal, so I am starting a tarot bag. And I just started. So there's other stuff in this bag too, but uh, so I'm using the size 3 needles too, and I'm doing a Judy's Magic cast on. So I'm doing the bottom up construction, and I do love the chart. So I dub this like my Ukraine stitch marker because of the colors of the cat. Um, it's it's yellow and blue. I have the other yarn that I was going to make the mittens with in here too. But for the tarot bag, I am going to knit the bird and the trident. So I am happy that I'm going to get that. And I'll think about it because I do really love the mittens. I could always knit more, but I was thinking maybe I would hold on to them. But I'll see. I think they're like one of my favorite ones because they're actually, I'm not saying the other stuff that I knit aren't useful, but these are actually really useful. Um, and I am super happy with them. So, and if you're curious about this yarn, it is a rustic yarn, so it has its own type of softness, but if you don't like rustic yarn, if you don't like rustic yarn, it's it's top tier rustic, so just to let you know. But it's good to like go to the yarn stores to feel what you like. Okay, I'll quickly show my other one. And I'm happy I weaved in the ends for this one too. So this is the Algebira. This is my third one that I knit. This is slightly different because I flipped the pattern and then I was knitting bottom up and then I was like, oh, I forgot I closed off the bottom because you're usually doing it um, with like the opening first, knitting in the round with the opening because you're doing decreases to do that. Like it has a point at the bottom for the original pattern. So I still kept the leaf motif here, which is like technically at the beginning. Um, and then I kept, I decided to put the birds in, and I have the separating rounds here too, and the other rounds there. I decided to do it landscape mainly because I use larger needles for this one, a lot larger needles, so it ended up being a landscape deck for my Universal Folk Tarot, and that's one of the almost oracle sized tarot decks. So I popped one of the buttons that I love. I love these types of buttons. They're one of my favorites. And I added the buttonhole too. So I just love this yarn. This one is the Retrosaria Brusca. And then I have hand dyed, hand spun from Bridget's Cart Farm in West Virginia. So happy with this one too. I really want to keep the mittens. So I'll see. I mean, worst case scenario, if I make more mittens, then it'll kind of be like matching and there'll be two sets of mittens. As I said, I have other mitten yarn and I am on the debate on what I was going to knit because the pattern that I was really considering, there's the notches here, and the notches are like the picot edging, if you could see. And this pattern has it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Ooh. Well, I don't think you saw that. So sorry. Just close your eyes when you, well, I guess, well, just act like I didn't do that. But I don't think you could see the grid on there, maybe. So with the notches, um, you would knit a couple rounds, do an area where there's a pattern sequence, knit a couple more rounds, and then you'll sandwich it together, and that's what's going to create the edging of it. And of course, I will not be using the yarn that's recommended or the needle size that's recommended. So I I don't think I'll be doing that one with the way that I want it to sit, and I don't want it to be too thick. So I have, of course, the sheep pattern too, and I was thinking maybe I could do ribbing or just not go right into the Latvian braid, but I wasn't sure if I would like it to be that much shorter. It's not going to be so much shorter, but it was something to think about because I didn't want to have raw edges. Um, of course, like I don't have ribbing on this one either, so blocking it definitely would help with that, but I am still considering, and I don't know if I would want to do the ribbing for the pattern that I was thinking about. I just brought the Knitted Kabbalah Volume 1 out. I did knit a pattern from this, uh, the mittens that are in this pattern, or mittens that are in this book. It's the Solalu mittens. This one actually has rim cuff. I didn't do the folded cuff, um, but I did do majority of the pattern. So the whole top portion I did. I'm happy that when I have my storage unit here, at least, or well, when I move my storage unit and then move the stuff into my aunt's house, I'll at least be able to um, sort my stuff more easily because I have my winter accessories and I like the cold weather accessories, and I would like to get them for sure because that's like the most fun that I have. I love those. I love the ones that I knit. So I actually did use the yarn and the needle size that was recommended because I was gifted the actual set for like the gift set, or like where it comes with the yarn. So it was the room garden phenol, and I got it from the Woolly Thistle. I really love the Rumagarn phenol yarn. It's one of my favorite yarns too. I tend to like the more rustic ones and the non-superwash. I like the feeling. I like the characteristics that it has. I feel like it benefits the type of knitting that I like. So as considering doing that one again, I do have the blended yarn that I showed in the last video. But I'm not sure if I would do that pattern. So I have two of the blue and one of the yellow, so the blue will be the main color. But I also have this book, and this is more of a rounded book. It has mittens in here too, and different ones. And my heart is set on doing like mittens, gloves, because it's like probably one of my more like the projects that I look forward to the most. So One that I like as soon as I saw it, and this also has a pico etching, but I wouldn't mind if it had ribbing at the bottom to it, on the bottom of it. It's the Light Decor fingerless gloves. And when I saw this pattern, I was like, wow, I think I'm going to knit that one. You would think that I know what's in what what patterns are in this book. I actually don't. I I feel like it's the category of this book is like inspo. So I had never knit anything from the Latvian books, but I love the patterns, and that's why I was pretty keen on like finding a pattern from the book. I when I saw this one, I'm like, I feel like this is the winner because I wanted it to be a little more traditional because of how bright the yarn is. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did it again. Hopefully you you can't see the charts in here. I'm so sorry to the author. Can you see this? Okay. There's also the hats in here too, and scarves and wraps. It's I feel like I may do the finger portion, the fingerless glove portion where you have the openings for it. But I might not do them. I might do the thumb, but other than that, I don't know if I would. And then maybe I would just like rib it at the top. There's the headbands in here too. The Morning Star gloves I like, and I'm only using two colors. Honestly, I think I found the mittens because I'm really now I'm obsessing over it. So I'm glad that I was able to put that and figure it out. I really wanted to knit from the book. And another thing was I was like, I'm hoping if whenever I do move, that I'll be finished with the mittens, because then I would have to prioritize the books that I would bring first. I have the main ones that I would like to bring, which are the three, the Portuguese knitting one, the two knitted Calvalas. Those are the priority ones. Um, then I have some progress, not too much progress, on my Seriola from the Knitted Cavala Volume 2 because I switched out one of the yarns, and I'm really happy that I did. It was the same family of color, but it was, I think how the yarn was, the finish of the yarn and how it was spun, it is, closer to this one. So I am at the waves. I did rip back to replace the color, and I do love that color still. I'm definitely gonna put it in a mitten because it has a sandy, beachy type of look to it, and I'm happy that I got the yarn. I really love how it's turning out, and then the main color just has so much depth to it. It's a heathered one. So I was trying to finish the mittens and work my loom, and that took a couple days. I didn't do it like night and day type of a couple of days, but I put in a couple hours and then I stopped, put in a couple hours, and I did other things. So I think when I move, I will try to make a makeshift, was it warping board, where I can try to confine the yarn to maybe areas or points of the place of wherever I warp my loom instead of stretching the yarn across the room that I'm in just in case, because I like maybe I would take my time more with warping it because I warped it in my godmother's basement, and I in my godmother's basement. There's a room in the basement, but I just did it as quickly as I could, and it is definitely like a tedious process. I don't mind warping, but it is time consuming, so I try to do it at a good time for me and try to um, value the space that I'm in, because I don't want to just like have live yarn just like all over the place. So I am happy about that project too. I just love the way that it's been coming together. So the last couple of things I'm quickly going to show. Well, there's one more work in progress that I'm going to show in this video, but um, so I've I think it's a new. Well, I'm not sure. I don't venture off and do a lot more shopping other than like my yarn shopping or if I'm at the bookstore. But I saw this store and I recognized what the products were, but I never knew the brand of it. And it's the Rumi Life. And they were saying, oh, it's 15 cents for one of these um, fun bags. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, at that point, I was like, okay, I'll just get the bag. And look, it has a duck on it, and it's a specific type of material. It's pretty sturdy for what it is. And so I did put a project in here. So I didn't show it in this video, but I showed it in another video. I finished a sock. So I didn't I tried them on, but I didn't like um block them yet. But I'm so happy that I did. I This was another one where I used different needles to see which one I would like, and I did find one that I enjoyed knitting with. I did mark where I started decreasing for the toe, and it's a self-striping yarn. This is a holiday yarn, and I'm really trying to push to get the second one finished before the end of the year so it's not going past season, and then I'm gonna be like, mm, I don't really like knitting socks and I don't like knitting holiday things out of holiday seasons. I kind of had an idea that I might feel like that, but sometimes I'm just like, I'll see how it goes. And then it happened with my project that was on the loom that was a holiday project. I have it I had it sit for like most of the year because the holiday passed. And I'm like, damn, this is uh unfortunate. So I learned my lesson with that. And it's not super common for me to do holiday projects. I usually do projects that I feel like I will like to knit on all year round. Of course, I can't use the projects all year round, like the finished projects, like if it's hotter outside, but I'm really happy with this one. I do like the Cascades yarn socks. They feel sturdy, but they feel soft, and that's like a good combination for me because sometimes I feel bad with like different sock yarns and they feel so delicate, and I'm like, well, if I finish these and I start wearing them and I feel like they'll get worn in too quickly, but maybe I haven't. I don't really knit socks that often, so I can't verify that until that time comes when I have. But I put the sock project in here because of the needles, and I'm still thinking about like what I'm gonna do with the needles when I actually store them. But then again, they've survived this long, and maybe it was like meant to be because I kind of just like chuck them around because I never really use them. Just because me with like small wooden needles, I am harder on my needles and I'm trying to be more gentle. I won't use these for color work, but for plain knitting, I don't mind, and it's fun to have the self-striping yarn. I will have a lot left, so I might have enough to make another pair because I didn't do a long leg, but I started on the ribbing and I'm almost finished the ribbing. This is a US one. It's the Knitter's Pride ginger needles, and I really like them. So I'm hoping that I am gentle with them. And I do have other sock bags. Let me see. So one of the things that I like to do with the bag is that I like to keep it here because there's with the chair, and then I'll just get the project out and I'll just keep the other stuff in there and then I'll knit away with it. It's been nice to do that. I don't know. Let me just put it here because when I show certain things, it changes. So I got two things from there. I tried not to get a lot of things. I tried to get stuff that I was like, this could be something to use. Well, at least the main thing. The other one I'll show. But um it's really inexpensive in there. I like that it has kind of like a European type of combination with this. So this is the Baby Roll Teddy Bear Vintage Collection. And I just love that. So, um, there's another pocket in the back here. And I recognize the brand because um, I bought it before when I would go to like the West Coast, like Hawaii or like California and stuff. And I really, I really love that. So I got the one that I like the most. I love the teddy bear here too. Oh, and then I have some pharmacy pens in here, but I did get a pen there since it was on sale. They were doing like their back to school sale. So there is this one. Is there hair on it? This one, and it is like that, and I just love it. It's super interesting because um it's really squishy. It's probably like it's like the material that you use on those keychains that are like the stress ball keychain things, but you could also do it with this one too. So it's so strange. I don't know if this is like a popular thing. I don't shop for a lot of other things aside from the knitting stuff, and um I do really like stationery. So I have a couple of pens in here that I'll do a little bit of a show and tell. Oh, but before I do show the pens, this is a sock bag, or like you can fit socks in here, you can fit the mittens in here. I've just been using the bag that the owner of the pharmacy gave me because it has the different brands, and I can put other stuff in it too if I'm just carrying that around. Mm. So I'll quickly show the pens because I keep adjusting myself. These are the ones from work. I take the nice ones. Um, if I see one that I think is cool, I'm like, ooh, let me just take that. So there are different categories, I suppose. So this is our the main wholesaler, Cardinal Health, that we would get our different supplies from, like the medical equipment, the drugs, the OTC supplements. These are the savings pens. I know you're probably thinking like, what's so interesting about these? And I'm like, I thought they were cool. So this one is the RX Saver and then the Care Card. So here, I thought that was interesting. I'll show this one. This is the Care Card one. And this one is the RX Saver. And you'll see that they have here, if you could, not sure. So it has the bin, PCN ID, and the group number. These numbers you would like show the person that is going to enter that information in like the card area. It could be maybe your insurance card or your coupon that you could apply to the medication that you're getting. So you'll need certain numbers, and you'll have it run through to see if maybe it you're covered in that pharmacy, if it's the right type of card. Well, they'll tell you if you could use this coverage in this pharmacy, or if you have like this certain insurance. There's different types of insurance. So they might say this isn't the card for your pharmacy. You can only use this maybe if you're in the hospital, or um, this isn't this isn't what you need here. Um, for the coupon cards, they're definitely like, well, this is all like on an individual basis. Like I can't say for everybody's insurance, um, but they'll run it through, and we wouldn't define the price. The price would be defined by the insurance. So you'll see what it reflects on what your copay is going to be for your coupon. Sometimes it's like one of the things that is pretty common is that the coupon will reduce the cost, but the catch is like you have to already have it covered at the pharmacy. Like your insurance already has to cover it, and then on top of that, it'll reduce it even more. And a lot of times you only have like a certain amount of times that you can use it, which is um eh, it's more than a handful, I would say, for a lot of them that I've noticed. There are some coupons that you can use just on their own, and it's great, especially when, I'm just talking about the US healthcare and the different prices, the pharmacy benefits managers that really define those things with your insurance. It's good for anything to lower the cost at that time to make your copay less, or even zero it out at the time. I just say at the time because you're paying for it, but um, it has those numbers, so I thought that was kind of fun on there. I have some supplements that we carry there. So Nordic Naturals, I thought that this is cool. This actually came in a goodie bag that they gave us, and it came with like a pill box too, and I still use that one. And it's a recyclable one. This one I feel like is a pretty solid brand. They are known for their fish oil, even though there's like specific branches and they're doing more products. So they have their fish oil, they have maybe specific things for cardiovascular, and that could be the umbrella, and then it can go further down into that, the type of health that you're trying to go for. But the thing with these products, they're going to have the fish oil in them. There's like the focus one, and there's a different one that's the memory one. So slightly or different types of combinations and ingredients for that one, but still has the fish oil. There are the different types of fish oil that they carry. They've been recently coming out with different vitamins. They have other products um, like for energy too. They have a mushroom complex one that I thought was interesting, and they have some children's products as well. I will say that it's pretty solid in terms of like the delivery of the medication. It's a smooth product where, of course, with a lot of supplements, you're not going to feel like it automatically hit you with the effects. It usually is kind of like a longer term thing where you take it and then eventually see the types of progression, which is, I I feel like it's good for your body. It's not like a shock that you get. Um, and it's for the ones that have the fish oil. Um, Even though a lot of their products, I haven't tried every one of their products, but the ones that I've tried, they've had the fish oil. It would have it in the soft gel to contain it, and it doesn't really taste fishy necessarily. I feel like for the most part, they they mask the flavor. So sometimes they have like the strawberry or lemon. For a lot of the products that I've tried, I've mainly tasted the lemon aftertaste, if anything. Um, they have liquid forms of it too, just pure liquid if that's what you're looking for. If you maybe put it in something and then you can choose, determine how much you're going to put in whatever you're putting it in. So I do like Nordic Naturals. I would say it's one of my favorite OTC products that we have there. I also have the VisBiome. This one, they come out with a lot of, well, they give us a lot of pens and mouse pads. So they're probiotics that we carry. I can't say if they have anything else, but it is in like packets or it comes in the capsules in there. The refrigerated probiotics, you'll notice that some places just have the ones that you don't refrigerate, and then some places have the refrigerated probiotics. There's some that say that, never mind. I'm not gonna go into that. But my favorite probiotic that I've tried is the Garden for Life one, and at least for this past year, it's been difficult to get for them. They have different types of probiotics too. They have the feminine care probiotics when it's not, that's not the exact name, but it's made for like women's health. And I've tried the regular one, the one in the orange box. I don't know if they changed it. I haven't tried the VisBiome myself, but it is popular. And the owner is picky about the types of supplements that we carry. So the other ones that I have are, so another one that's OTC is the Aloe Life. This one actually has more of their information on here. Celebrating 30 years. I don't know if you can see. If you can't see, it's aloelife.com. Quality aloe vera products. So I have Pharmacist Mutual Pen, and I like black pens. I don't really write with blue pens. There is a place that is, I'll start putting them in the case again actually. A place that is near the pharmacy. It's the Kaplan Center for Integrative Medicine, the chronic pain and illness experts, which is really close. Then I have two of the same ones. It's the semaglutide and it's the injection. So I got these. They also gave us notepads too. And then I guess an honorable mention. is this RSVP pen. I mainly use it because, well, I would use it a lot, but I like to twirl my pencil in class, so I tend to do that. Um, and then you can try to do it with the other fingers. Hold on. I like it because it is a heavier pen and it's a little bit longer, which I feel like, well, this is a little more comfortable to do it with these, but hopefully that isn't annoying in class because that's what I would do. And for the exercise, I guess this isn't, hopefully no one takes it in a weird way, but it's mainly getting the muscles to react on their own instead of like moving your hands in the same, your fingers in the same direction. You're going to try to make sure it can work individually so it'll be able to spin the pen. And it is different than spinning like a drumstick because it's lighter. And so, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And so it is different, of course, but it's just the enjoyment of it. And I really hope I wasn't super like annoying in class, just like doing this for like half of the class to keep myself entertained. But I am so happy that I was thinking, Adrian, maybe instead of just throwing your stuff in bags, like not like regular bags, just like plastic bags, I feel like as I look at my stuff, I'm thinking, you could do with more storage. So I am trying to organize, but I'm not trying to overflow myself with stuff and even sorting through my stuff. I'm constantly sorting through my stuff like every year because I'm constantly moving. So hopefully I won't have to do this as much and I will get my furniture out of there at least so it'll be easier instead of me just like climbing over things to try to find to see if like this box has this stuff even though I did label it, but somehow the boxes just feel like they disappeared, like I can't find the box that I'm looking for, which is so surprising because it's like a giant box and for some reason I just don't see it. So that's just one of those things. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.